A brand new interview with Ananta's developers has just dropped, and it's absolutely packed with massive reveals, including why there is no character gacha, how progression works, and what kind of wild features we can expect in the future. So let's break down the 10 biggest takeaways that you need to know about. And this interview was done by, I think, Famitsu, but then there was a post that sort of summarized a lot of stuff that was posted by Eyeball Funnyman over on the Ananta Reddit about 6 hours ago as of the time of me recording. So let's start with the number one point, the first point they had, which was specifically about the question was, I understand that Ananta does not have what is known as a character gacha, which I think is fairly challenging an attempt for a game like this. What was your aim in eliminating the character gacha? Then the response was from the developer, Ash, this game is being developed with the main focus of the player experiencing the life of a character. In reality, you can only experience one life, but in this game, you can enjoy as many different lives as there are characters. In order to allow players to experience the life of a character, we want them to be able to freely choose a character and enjoy a variety of different lives. For this reason, we made it possible to obtain characters in a way that is not a gacha, implying that you're not going to have to pull for it or spend money to get all the characters, which is great. The second question they had was, in the demo version of the TGS 2025, you can actually switch between 3 different characters, but will there be more characters in the future? Ash responds, that's the plan. We're still considering how we'll expand it specifically, but we're thinking of adding more characters to match the jobs that exist in the city. Each character in Ananta has their own story, and players will experience different lives depending on the character they choose. Therefore, going forward, we'd like to create characters that will provide players with new experiences, taking into consideration feedback from players. So, good to know they're at least, considering that. But they move on from that to the next thing, which is, when it comes to gameplay, is in Ananta, would you say the story experience will be the main focus? Ash responds saying, rather than following a singular story throughout the game, I think the idea is to experience the lives of the characters and enjoy life in each. In addition to the stories of each character, we also plan to provide sub-stories, hidden missions, and other stories that will surprise and entertain players. In addition to the solo mode where you can experience the life of a character, we also are considering a multiplayer mode where you can take on missions with friends in an open world. And yes, that's the biggest one that I think most people would love, is if the game almost functions similarly to, I know they don't like the comparison maybe, but to Grand Theft Auto, to be honest, and having a multiplayer world where you can just go around and do stuff. I think that's where Ananta can really shine, especially with the addition of a lot of the, what we do have from gacha games. Like, take all the good stuff from gacha games and implement it into this, but remove all the bad stuff, which is what it sounds like they're almost doing. So based on this, they seem to be thinking about actually making a multiplayer mode, and that would imply though that the current version of the game doesn't have that as an intended feature, but it does seem like something they are considering doing, which I really hope they do, because it will just open up the door for this game just being even more massive than it already can be, because it'll just add so many more elements. But moving on, they have another question, which is, regarding the character stories, the main focus will be on experiencing life, but as an RPG with battle elements, how will the characters grow and become stronger? The developer Ash responds, things like growth and strengthening also differ depending on the character. For example, the demo version at TGS 2025, which is the Tokyo Game Show, featured a police character named Richie, whose level increased by completing police-like tasks. In contrast, the delivery person, Taffy's level increased by delivering packages. So yeah, basically doing different things for the different factions is what's going to bring up your level in the game, or at least sort of make you progress as well, which makes sense. The next question is, does that mean I have to work to raise my level? Ash responds, not at all. There are characters who are unemployed, quite literally, which is really funny. In addition to completing tasks tailored to your profession, you can also just level up by fighting chaos. And of course, chaos being like the bad guys. You can also level up by living in the city, such as driving a car, of course. If you don't like being unemployed, you can find a job yourself and earn money doing what you love in the game. So it's not like you're tied down to the things. Of course, if you play as the different characters, you have the option of doing their jobs and, actually fulfilling your duty as those characters, but it doesn't mean you have to. You can just go out and do other things and just do nothing if you want to. It really is up to what you want to do, and that's lovely. The second question though, next question rather, is what kind of price structure will Ananta have? Ash responds, we plan to operate Ananta as a free-to-play game, as mentioned earlier. This game will not have a gacha system for obtaining characters, and as for paid elements, we are currently planning to sell paid character skins. In addition to skins, character customization options include some home renovations and car purchases, which can generally be purchased with in-game currency. We also plan to sell special items, such as limited time event costumes, as paid content. So it seems like a lot of the monetization for this is going to be very microtransaction heavy in other areas visuals rather than anything to do with the actual characters themselves, which is good because that's going to make like the actual barrier to entry a lot easier for people, and is not going to make the game into this sort of perpetual loop where you just dump your money into, which it does feel like a lot of gachas mostly is what they are. But it looks like they're aiming for something a little bit different, which is really awesome. It's good to see that they're not leaning fully into just rinsing you for all the money you have. But either way, the next question they ask is, speaking of Mugendai Ananta, people are talking about how incredibly detailed the city is, but why did you decide to make the city so realistic? Ash responds, in Mugendai Ananta, we wanted to create a setting where players could expand their imagination and make the things they want to do come true. So, we created a city that players would be familiar with. However, a world that is exactly like reality would be boring, so we've incorporated elements that don't exist in reality. Chaos in this game. We basically want players to have an experience that would be impossible in reality through the existence of chaos and the characters. So literal chaos and the entity of chaos and like different creatures and stuff like that and enemies. The next question is, the cityscape depicted in Mugendai Ananta is reminiscent of Akihabara and Makuhari and has an atmosphere that is familiar to us Japanese people, making it very striking. What made you decide to create such an Asian-styled cityscape? Ash says, I feel that many of the city games out there today are based on American cities like Los Angeles or New York. In this case, I guess they're talking about, I'm assuming they're probably talking about like GTA, and New York, Spider-Man, stuff like that, I'm assuming. But yeah, there are still very few city games set in Asia, so we wanted to create a game with a modern Asian city feel and send it out to the world. Also, many members of the Mugendai Ananta development team are fans of Japanese anime, so they made sure, that they wanted to have the desire to realize that image of that two-dimensional world and share it, and share it with the world is how they describe it. The next question is, were there any specific works that influenced you during development process? Ash says, many members of the development team are fans of anime, movies, and action films, and when it comes to action, Jackie Chan's movies have had a big influence. In terms of Japanese works, there is Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. In terms of movies, there's Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, they're taking from basically every sort of thing, like anything and everything in terms of inspiration. And as we've seen, they've taken their liberty with inspiration quite a lot. Next question, though, is, speaking of being influenced by action movies, the car chase scene that we experienced during the TGS 2025 demo was amazing. And this is the 10-minute gameplay they posted on the official Ananta channel not too long ago. Ash says, we created the action movie scene so that players could experience the cool and fun parts of the anime and movies with their own hands. For example, in a car chase scene, you can actually shoot the tires of a chasing car and flip it over. We'd be happy if players thought, that's it, this is what I want to do while actually playing, and then being able to do it. That is so true. I'm not even gonna deny it. The fact that you even have that as an option is kind of incredible. But hey, what's the next question? Well, the next question is, many recent action games use flashy effects in production, but the fighting style of the characters in Mugendai Ananta is quite hardcore. Are there any particular considerations when it comes to the characters' actions? Ash says, while the battles in Mugendai Ananta are unrealistic, we've created actions with human-like reactions in mind, such as blocking punches, narrowly avoiding attacks. The gameplay is designed so that players can enjoy these actions with minimal controls. Also, this game doesn't limit you to one fighting style, but allows you to use a variety of fighting styles depending on the stage. Just like in Jackie Chan movies, you can pick up objects around you and use them as weapons. And we actually get to see gameplay of this, by the way. This is actually shown by someone. Somebody's able to actually get their hands on it and show it off, which is really cool. Now, in the demo version, they asked them another question. In the demo version of TGS 2025, we're able to see a map that looked like an island in the ocean. Will this map be expanded in the future? Ash says, we plan to continue expanding the maps that players can explore. We'd like to add new towns and countries so that players can enjoy a variety of cities. We'd also like to provide special ways to, differ depending on the city. The question then is, how large is the team developing Mugendai Ananta? Ash says, we're about 700 to 800 people all working together at one base. That is incredible. 700 to 800 people working on this is nuts. The next question is, by the way, Ash, how old are you? How old are you now? Being responsible for managing these hundreds of people. I'll just say I was born in the Heisei era. Most of the development team in the last was born in the Heisei era as well. Then the final question. Finally, please give us a comment to the Japanese fans who are eagerly awaiting the release. Ash says, I'm really happy to have been able to have this opportunity at the Japanese event like TGS, we're currently working on development of Mugen Ananta, hoping to deliver a game that everyone has experienced has never experienced before. The development of Mugen Ananta is still in early stages, but I will do my best to meet everyone's expectations, deliver the completed game to players as soon as possible. I don't think it will take too long. So again, we don't have a release date, and we're probably not going to have a release date for quite some time, but at least this gives us a better image and view into how long we can on average. I mean, it seems like they're still in early stages, but it does look like they're trying to deliver it as soon as possible, which is always a good thing. But does that mean 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, though, I think it's pretty cool to see all these details being shared. And it's not even the only stuff. There is even more things that have dropped. And I'll make another video about some of that stuff if you want to see it. So let me know. And of course, make sure to subscribe, leave a like down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.